Okay. Okay, and hi, everybody. My name is Brenda Ahenkorah. I'm the CEO and founder of My Well Self. We are a tech-enabled, wellness-focused care navigation platform that helps remove the friction in navigating holistic health / wellness-based therapies. I am extremely happy to have Skylar Nesbitt. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Nesbitt, yep.
With us today. She is a registered holistic nutritionist. She is based out of BC Athletic Therapy Embracing in Petawawa, and she also has her own practice where she practices at home and accepts virtual consultations there too as well. So thank you, Skylar, so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. So what we're going to do today is ask Skylar some questions to learn more about registered holistic nutritionists. And I was not aware of this specific group before. And when I became aware of them, I became very interested at how they approach nutrition a little differently than other people out there. So let's dive into the questions, if that's okay. Wonderful. So you want to start off by just perhaps introducing yourself to our group.
Perfect. Yep. So I'm Skylar Nesbitt and I live in Petawawa, Ontario. Like Brenda said, I have my own virtual practice and I work at a BC Athletic Therapy here in town.
Wonderful. And you are a registered holistic nutritionist.
Yes, I'm a registered holistic nutritionist. Yes, thank you for yes.
No, just want to make sure everyone's clear. And
yeah.
what kind of led you to your profession? What got you there? Curious to know.
So I have always been really interested in health, wellness, everything to do with food. I was always the one eating, the vegetables with the dip at the birthday parties, bringing the vegetable dips. I've always loved it. And even when we were younger, I have a twin sister. We always prioritized our sleep. We still get the stories to this day from our parents. 8 o'clock would roll around, we're 7 or 8 years old. Okay, Kylie and I are going to go to bed now. And we always were just that way. So when I decided to become a registered holistic nutritionist, it wasn't until after my husband joined the military and I saw what he was going through, what their diet was when they were out in the field, how, the effects were affecting his body. And through my own stress being a military spouse, because it is a lot. And I decided to go back to school because I was already, interested in stuff anyways. So my friends and family weren't that surprised that I wanted to go and become an RHN. So it's kind of what led me here. I like to credit my husband a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Wonderful. That's a good story. And I have to say, I wish my 6-year-old had that kind of motivation to go to bed at 8 o'clock.
I know. It's so funny. Yeah.
And what type of training did you have you mentioned, going back to school, what kind of training got you to the title of RHN?
So I went to the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition in Richmond Hill, Ontario. I think everything's virtual now. So when I started the pandemic hit the month I was about to start. So it's all virtual and I ended up getting my diploma with them.
Okay, good. How long did that take you approximately?
Just over a year, I believe.
Wonderful, good.
Yeah.
And something that I've seen before are registered holistic nutritionists, and I've also seen certified holistic practitioners. Do I have that correct? Is there a difference between the two? Because I'm confused about that personally.
So I think when we see a lot of those different designations, with my school specifically, there are 3 designations that they provide, but it's based on provinces. So what they can designate. So here in Ontario, I decided to become an RHN. So I believe they also have a few others. I think they have the CHN was what you saw, Canadian Certified Holistic Nutritionist. Same things, just again the provinces and what they can, what their designations are. And they also have a Certified Holistic Nutritionist, nutritional consultant. A little bit of a mouthful for that one. But essentially those are the same, and just depends on where you are.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with necessarily the training. It just where they're located, basically. Same.
For those ones specifically, yes,
Yes.
just where you are located. That one's just for my school specifically.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Now, the big question that I want to know too as well
Yeah.
is, so in that group of holistic nutritionists, how are you guys different from dietitians?
Yeah.
Please, I'm going to sit back and just listen for this because I think
Right.
a lot of
Yeah.
people want to know the answer to this question.
Yeah, and it's a common one that we get too. So obviously, we all know that dietitians have extensive training.
Yeah.
They go for a 4-year Bachelor of Science, then they have to get licensed. They go through their testing, their exams and all that stuff.
Okay.
So they are allowed to do a lot more. They have a lot more on their scope of practice than what we have.
Okay.
We still have a serious scope of practice that we have to abide by, but their jobs differ. So they can, work in hospitals, for example.
Right.
So it's regulating those type of things. Whereas RHNs, we don't do that. So they are often covered by, insurance, healthcare, and we also are as well.
Yeah.
It just depends on the insurance, but there are big differences. And I advise people to often look into it, especially for what you're looking to get help with.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're looking for a more holistic approach, it's obvious which one you're going to choose.
Right.
But you deserve to have the best care, and it just really depends on what you're looking for. I think, because I think a lot of dietitians as well, they go off of the Canada Food Guide.
Right.
Obviously here in Canada, so it's something to look into. But there are a lot of differences. But it just depends on what you're looking for.
Okay, wonderful. So thanks for that, because I was not familiar with the difference in the two. I personally sat back and did some research for myself and discovered the different approaches. Yeah. Okay. So
and they, work with diagnosing and all those things. And obviously, as holistic nutritionists, we do not do any of that.
Okay, wonderful. But both have fantastic benefits.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now with that, so great. Thanks for explaining the difference. What are some myths you want to dispel about registered holistic nutritionists? What are some things you hear, you think, oh God, that's not true? Here's the opportunity to dispel them.
Well, I think even before I became one, I think when I thought of them, it's, we're very judgmental, and like, if it's not a certain way that you're eating, then we can't help you. Okay. And that's far from the truth, right? Like, the one thing I love about being a holistic nutritionist especially is that we meet you where you are. We try and make it as simple and easy to follow as we can. Right. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, like the organic, if I don't eat organic, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of that goes around. We all know that, but we meet you where you are. Okay. We truly care about your well-being. I don't take it lightly that people come to me for help for their health. That is a big task that they're putting into my hands, right? So just things like that, basically. And, we're not judgmental, like we really aren't. And if you are working with someone who maybe, doesn't have your best interest, and is not really hearing your concerns, no matter what the profession, you should look into someone else and doing more research and things like that. So we're really, we're very open-minded, but we truly want people to know that you have more power in your health than we were ever taught. Yes. Okay. And that's what I love.
That makes a lot of sense, because I think when people hear about holistic nutrition, they automatically think that, for example, I need to give up meat, or I have to go on a gluten-free diet. And what I'm hearing is that that's not the case.
Right. And it's so individual, and we don't look strictly at what that one person is like. It's so individual. We really take each person into account. Right. And, what works for one person is not going to work for another person. So we definitely are very open-minded, and we hope that they are too.
Great. So I think you put a lot of people at ease here. That's great. Yeah. So the next question is your profession regulated? How do we know that, the person that there's some kind of accountability there? Can you speak on that for a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is where your research is going to come in, and you want to make sure that what you are looking for someone, that they have a designation. So with our my profession specifically, we're not regulated, but we're self-regulated, meaning that not everyone can just call themselves a registered holistic nutritionist.
Right.
Yes, you can call yourself a nutritionist, anyone can,
Right.
but the designation is really, really important.
Okay. Okay. How does someone, if someone were to find you or to find anyone else, how do they know that that's who you are? Is that possible to confirm?
Yeah, so I mean, that designation, you'll always see it at the end of their name.
Okay.
But you can also look on specifically Google, registered holistic nutritionist, and there is a platform that will specifically send you to one. You will be able to, see who is one. And it's very important that you do your research on it.
Okay, wonderful. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's for any profession, people should always be aware of any issues that may be with the person. You never know where you're walking
Exactly.
into. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So someone has discovered more about RHNs. They're focused on coming to see you. What could someone expect with their first appointment with you? What do we expect to happen there?
So first appointment is always going over intake forms. We basically want to get the full background.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about being an RHN. I look at everything. I don't just look at your diet. I mean, obviously that's a very important part of it.
Right.
I'm looking at your sleep. I'm looking at your lifestyle. I'm looking at your stress levels, because everything goes together. Everything correlates. It all, leads into what your symptoms are.
Right.
So when you come in, I'm going to go over in-depth intake forms, sit you down, and we're going to go over your goals, what you want to achieve, what you're looking for, and basically how I'm going to help you.
Okay, so that sounds kind of rolls into my next question. That's what a typical session would look like. So basically give you everything so that we can come to some goals.
Yes, absolutely. It's always about what they're wanting to work on, and that's what we focus on, which is a big deal, because I think a lot of people don't always get their concerns met.
Yes.
And we are always so focused on providing the best care and making sure that their needs are being met. So each session is going to be different. So the first one, like I said, all those intake forms, we're going to get your background, your medical history, supplementation history, all those type of things, so that we can give you the best overall care. And then we do follow-up sessions. So those are going to be, going over your progress, any symptoms that you're still having. They all go in hand, and we just really try and get to the bottom of what's going on.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. So with that, what are some common issues, concerns you see coming into your specific practice?
Yeah, so I think it's all over everything, basically. A lot of gut health.
Yes.
It's a lot of, the latest trend, but for good reason.
Okay.
We're pinpointing that gut health is linked to, mental health. Basically everyone's symptoms can relate back to gut health in some way, in some shape or form. I'm seeing a lot of people who just don't know what to eat in general. And they don't know when to eat, things like that. And I love providing that type of care, because when we focus on even like blood sugar management, for instance, we can see a lot of those symptoms start to dissipate. I see a lot of, I guess I would say, blood sugar dysregulation, gut health issues, hormones, a wide range. It's really all over the place, really.
You just kind of made my eyes perk up, because of the importance. I'm not a clinician or anything, but the importance of gut health and how it impacts literally every part of your body. So yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so my next question is, so someone, they come, they see you, you have some goals in place for you, and what you've seen, what does progress look like for somebody? What does getting well with Skylar look like, in your opinion?
Well, as RHNs, we want to make sure that we're not just telling the client, okay, this is what you need to do.
Right.
We are actively educating you on how your body is working, so that when progress is being made, they can see it themselves. It's not like, oh, they have to come back in every appointment for them to realize what progress is going on. So progress to them is literally, and to me, is going to be them knowing their body, them knowing, how things are going, basically just being their best advocate, and essentially just feeling it for themselves and wanting to work towards those goals. and having the power to do so.
Yeah.
So it's really great when we get in clients each follow-up appointments and they can be like, listen, like I've, been more regular than I've ever been in my life, which is so important.
Oh God, that's so important.
We talk about all the time, being regular, just things
Yeah.
like that. It's like they're able to actually see their own progress.
Right.
And so each time you come in, it's very fun actually to see the little things that they still don't even notice. It's like, oh, I actually did get 7 to 8 hours sleep last night after not sleeping for how long. So it's very individual, but progress is, what they're seeing, what we're seeing. And it's just, I don't know, each time's kind of different, but
right.
Yeah.
It's those small wins that kind of help you, right?
100%. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love this. I love these conversations. And I think that's pretty much wrapping it up. I have a deeper understanding of registered holistic nutritionists. So thanks for that. And I think I always want to end off these series by asking you, and making people more aware of, is your service covered under insurance, under, benefits insurance?
Yeah, so I'm having a lot more success getting clients covered under insurance, which was fantastic.
Great.
So you really need to be specific, but you need to look under your insurance, and it needs to say nutritionist.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot are definitely covered by dietitians, but I'm having a lot more success getting clients covered, and it's just fantastic to see.
Wonderful. I know with my personal experience, RHNs were not covered under the standard, but I was able to have a spending account. I believe that's what it's called, or HSA, a health spending account. And that's where I was able to, claim back my expenses. As long as I understand RHNs are covered under a self-regulated board, association or a board, then it qualifies as a qualified practitioner. Am I
100%? Yeah. So I need to give my license number for them to be covered. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So remember, people, they're covered. You guys are covered. Okay, Skylar, with that, I want to thank you so much for your time. I had a great time learning more about registered holistic nutritionists. Remember that you can find Skylar on My Well Self. She practices in Petawawa at the BC Athletic Therapy and Practicing, and also has her own virtual clinic. So thank you, everyone. And I hope you had a great session today. Thank you.
Thank you.